our rep, and told him precisely that, I want my bills next month with the reductions. I want to see a reduction, and that it's been dragged too long. And I've talked to Mark actually a few days ago, and Mark says if the next bill, if we don't see that being reduced, then we are going to bring Greg Day into our meeting to explain the circumstances.
Do we have any leverage in terms of are they the only provider that we can go to? I mean, it is, you may have to get tough with these guys, right?
Yeah, we're to that point.
So
I can speak from personal experience. We just moved offices about 2 blocks.
Yeah.
And we didn't change anything, but they automatically put us on another plan.
Yeah,
it was 8 months before we got any credits.
I understand.
So
my question is there any, what are our alternatives? Can we, is there another
I
provider
will check with them.
go
I will
to?
check with other options and see how that goes. I'm not, we've been having AT&T all along.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Right, and then, they promised me with a reduced rate, telling me this would be this much at a low rate. And, so looking at different companies' rates, AT&T seems the best choice to go with.
because you guys changed.
We changed from
everything, right? So you guys just
sunset.
changed something as
Right.
well, and that's what triggered that.
Precisely.
And it literally was 8 months, and then after it was all corrected, and we owed, instead of like $10,000, $100. Then they put a collection agency, and we got that clarified as well. But it took a long time, so it's not shocking me what you're going through.
It's not shocking me either, it's frustrating.
It is frustrating.
So you
It's
get to a
very
point, it's like,
frustrating.
okay, I understand that you have more or less monopoly, but at a certain point, what are all our alternatives? Can we find someone else?
And then I didn't have anything else on the bills. Every question I had, Catherine was able to answer. So are there any other board members who have any questions on any of the bills? Any comments on the consent agenda? Normally, when something is on the consent agenda, it's not truly a discussion item, but certainly the board can ask any questions or raise any comments that they wish to on any of the items that are on the consent agenda.
As far as for the hot lunch and then changing the pricing for that, is that considered, or they recommended not to change it from $2 to $2.50?
Correct. Their recommendation in here is to leave the price alone. I know the board was privy to the correspondence that I had requested some historical information on the hot lunch prices, as well as just a comparison of what we would have to do to possibly break even on the hot lunch. So
Right, and it came out to $2.65 and $4.15. Was that it? I forgot.
no, not 415.
I'm sorry,
$3.14, $2.64 and
The break-even price was $2.40 and $2.90.
$2.40 and $2.90 to break
right.
even.
Right.
So I know that in the past, Scott Orsick had brought up maybe looking at a different vendor. I certainly, at this point, don't feel that we should do that. But then I know in a little conversation with Mark, he suggested that he didn't want to increase it because of the economy and the times and whatnot, and that we would increase it maybe possibly next year. And I just think that kind of, so instead of, so leaving it at $2 and $2.50 and making, or taking about a $15,000 loss approximately, this year, that would it make sense to go maybe 2 1/4 and $2.75, raising it a quarter, instead of making a jump at $2.40 to, I think we fell into that trap a couple of years ago with the tuition increase. We didn't slowly incrementally increase things, and you hit them with a big increase, and ouch. So, I'm thinking that it would make sense to maybe raise it a quarter. I mean, certainly the people that need a free lunch get a free lunch. They certainly can apply for it, or a reduced lunch. But for the others, I don't know why we should take a $15,000 a year loss on this program. It's a great program, don't get me wrong, but we haven't increased it in a couple of years, and I just think it would make more sense to slowly increment the increases. I don't know if that's something you guys have any comments on?
I would support that. I am in favor of looking at an increase, whether it's 2 1/4 or another amount. I have a similar opinion that I think we should be working closer to the break-even amount in terms of what we charge and what we have reimbursed to us from the
So is this the appropriate time to make this comment, or, okay?
This would be the only time, Karen,
Okay.
because either,
Thank you. I just
once
want
we
to be clear.
approve the consent agenda, we've
But we
approved
can't go
it.
back, right,
That's
okay,
correct.
good, and I'm glad I
That's
asked.
correct. So, does anybody else have any sentiments toward the price of the hot lunch?
I agree that I think we need to raise it, if not a little bit, and not get caught a year or two raising it a bunch where we're gonna be in the same issue. You know, same situation that we were last time. I think that's more of a shock than it is, doing
I agree, but I think based on historical, if we raise it 25 cents, that's gonna be an issue. Because our increases were based on 5 cents. So if all of a sudden we take a 25
But they,
cent jump
but the
this year.
cost of, I mean, that's not even break even, that, we're still gonna lose money at that,
Right.
at a quarter.
No, but I mean, if we slowly raise the price each year, then we'll eventually get, I think raising it a quarter will be an issue for people.
But I think that they have a choice, they can certainly bring their own lunch if they want. I mean, certainly the increases in our costs have not been a nickel over the, you know what I'm saying? So I just think that if we put it out there, show them why we're doing it, and clearly we are still taking a loss, we're not breaking even. It's a small, I think, and it's an easy number to manage, 2 1/4, 275, as opposed to, but that's just my opinion, I mean.
Does it have to be set for a year? Is there a way that, you know, in 6 months, if the economy, you know, is on an upswing or something, that we can readdress it? Or are we, if we approve it, we're locked in for a year?
Well, we're locked in a contract for a year, right?
Well,
Yeah, but one
approving the
is what we
contract
buy,
is separate
one is
than
what we
what we
charge.
charge, right,
Right.
right. So, other feelings, because with this being on the consent agenda, if it's gonna remain on the consent agenda, we either need to, leave it as is or revise it to an amount that we are comfortable with. Or if it gets removed from the consent agenda, that won't be something that we can vote on this evening.
So we just have to vote on the contract. We can decide at a later date.
Well, let's think about it.
Well, they already have out
They're ready to go.
for the next, start of next school year
Correct.
to get those in by
Correct.
the end of the
And
year.
this was the
so.
same situation we were in last year.
What I mean, in my mind, my question is about the contract, but, so I have the same reaction, I think, the same question. But when I look at the historical data, I'm not I look at last year, so we were basically, over by about 13. I don't know if we can project what we're over by this year in terms of expenses.
I guess made about 15,000 this year.
Okay.
I had asked for the actual numbers, but apparently they weren't available.
Well, I don't think we have them until.
Through April, the actual numbers through April, no?
The
Well,
actual
these are
numbers
through
are through
April.
April.
Well, this says it's budgeted. Yes.
No, those are my actual
They are the
numbers.
actual?
Right.
Then I
for
question,
April.
why is it $2,900 for the milk from students? Why is that so low when, you know?
With
if you
our
look-
with our milk calculations, usually, right now is the time where we collect milk fees, and then we put it in this way. It's a cash basis, it's not an accrual basis. That's how I'm running my numbers
They
up.
get it. They're coming, the checks are coming in now.
So bottom line, it'd be about a $15,000
Yes.
loss, which is what I guesstimated too, based off the number, so.
Yeah, when Catherine and I made this recommendation, we knew that there's a couple of variables here. One, you don't know exactly what the federal reimbursement will be, and the other thing that caught us off guard was last year, everybody's well aware that we had a huge spike in food prices. I mean, that was across the board. With that, our intention was, with the economy the way it is, and people are strapped in some cases, that we would implement an incremental increase starting next year. I mean, that was the intention. If the board wants to begin that this year, it's certainly your prerogative, to do that. It would just be simply a matter of picking a
Deciding
number,
on a number.
and then we amend the consent agenda and vote on that.
You said next year, are you talking next school year, being 2010, 2011 school year? Or next,
So at this time.
January
That
2010?
they'd remain the same next year, but the subsequent year, we
Subsequent school year.
school year, we would, begin to increment, and then we, nobody can predict what the economy's gonna be, of course, but we know what it is right now.
So I said if we, waited
I mean, if we,
a few months into the school year and reassess, or?
I would think that if our intent is, I didn't know that you guys chatted about a raise a couple of years from now, but if our intent is to do that a couple of years from now, I'd much rather see an incremental increase than something more drastic 2 years out. Just a quick calculation, if you go with 180 days and the child eats every day, you're talking about $45 more a year. I can't speak
With what
With
amount?
a quarter.
25 cents, 25 cents, so, that's what we'd be looking at.